Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Maddie B. And before we get into some NFL stuff, had some feedback come back from people saying that they don't like us talking about getting old. I don't know, did I talk about that last week with the marathon stuff? Because honestly, most of the people listening to our show are old dudes. And they're making it seem like I was pretending to be like we're lazy for being old. But dude, I just ran a marathon, right? I'm still playing sports when I really shouldn't be, right? I know Matt does MMA. So I don't think if you're getting it that we're saying that like people that are old are lazy, like that's not what we're talking about at all, right? So I don't know. I get the feedback. I share it. I'm saying that because even if people say that we're not old, I think the thing is they're thinking that we're not actually old, which I looked at the demographics of our show, and there are a lot of people much older than us, late 30s, like we're late 30s or early 40s. And there are a lot of people over 50 that listen to the show, so maybe that's what they're probably begging for the chance to like go for a run, right? And that's what I'm saying.
No, nobody's begging for that. Nobody runs for fun unless you're a sociopath.
Well, they're probably worried you're doing MMA, and they're like, man, I wish I could do that. And then you see Chuck Norris dying, and he's out there still fighting, right?
Exactly.
He put out one video out where he was like sparring in his like 80s, and I feel like you have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
So if you're complaining about us interjecting, it is off-season content, right, into the show. Come back during football season. I don't know what to tell you. Right?
We'll be here.
Because I'm playing like the softball that I've been playing, had our first game, and you can just tell that it's guys, it's eating them up. Because I know it would eat me up last year when I'd make like an error. Luckily, I didn't do that this game. And you just see someone make it, and it's like it eats them up because they're probably like, man, I know I felt this way. Like when I played baseball, like I never like made mistakes like this. Because the people that are like playing are usually guys that probably played pretty competitively, right? If you had a terrible time in like youth sports playing, I doubt you're signing up for more of that in your adult life. Like, man, I really rode the bench a lot. I really need that now that I'm like in my 30s. I should probably sign up, right?
I should probably get back into it.
I sure struck out a lot. I never really had any hits. A good chance for me to go out there and relive that terror. Because now, like, I'm on that side of that. Right? You come out, I know I can hit the ball. And I'm like, as long as I'm hitting it hard, like I had one smoke through the other one right at the guy. Second baseman got, and I was like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do? Just keep hitting the ball hard. If it ever comes to a point where I'm not hitting the ball hard, then I'd be like, all right, I got to hang it up. So that's my little.
Be a pitcher.
I'm not gonna do like a slow softball pitcher.
Yeah,
because too many rules for me.
Pitchers, they can play like up into their 70s and 80s.
I don't need that. Too many rules, man. You have to have it like a certain speed. Has to be like a certain height. Has to hit like through the zone. No. And I'm not gonna throw like fast pitch either. That's when I'll hang it up and I'll just start playing golf. Because I have the golf outlet too. Like if I didn't play softball, that's what I was thinking. Like, because it might come to a point where I have too many family things going on, and the schedule I just can't work, and then that will be my off ramp into just old man. Since people hate me saying that, I guess old man golf, right? Old man golf season. I'll just be running, playing golf. That'll keep your core in shape, right? You're still doing a swivel, nice, get your hips through.
Yeah, and doing 12-ounce curls.
Not if you're driving the golf cart, right? You'd be tipping out in a sand pit or something, get trapped. Be embarrassing. Like, what happened to him? What happened to your leg? Like, oh yeah, I wrecked my golf cart.
I got a DUI in my golf cart.
I can't drive anymore. I'm trapped at home.
No, I can't do NASCAR.
Hey, Michael Jordan, do you see him? He's like bringing the life back into. I don't even know. Does he have a NASCAR team? I'm guessing that's what he has, right?
Yeah, because he tried that lawsuit a while back.
Well, he's been winning. He won 4 of the first, or I don't know if it's the first, but the last 6 races he's won. His team, he's been pumped up. And that's good because, like, I don't know, what does the owner do? Is he, like, game planning? Or he just there celebrating?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because it's like horse racing. The owner just buys the horse, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, he could be mating them or something. But he's not doing any of the training.
Hopefully he's not mating his NASCAR driver.
He's like doing the long game. Like, take your NASCAR skills with my basketball skills. We'll have an ultimate athlete in 20 years. Well, that's where you see people's like old basketball players, like their kids are coming up through, or even football players, and they're like prized recruits. Like I think Phillip Rivers down here at NC State, his son just committed, and everyone's going crazy. It's like, you don't know if his son's going to be any good though. Right? Is he getting the bump because his dad's like the coach and can get him in all the circuits? Or like, is it going to be like Manning? Like, you don't know how, is Manning going to like go and finally break through? Is it just like Sarkisian system where they can't really get through? And then I hear that the next Manning coming up, is it like Peyton's actual son or Eli's actual son?
Yeah, Peyton's son. That
one's going to be good, I heard. But what kind of combos am I having where people are bringing up Peyton Manning's son? It's like a football recruit. I probably need to get my life priorities in order, Matt. Where a casual conversation is like, hey, you hear about Peyton Manning's son? No, that shouldn't be coming up in any conversation I'm in ever.
See, that's old man talk.
Yeah, you don't know what to talk about. It's really awkward. So you're like, I bet this guy knows Peyton Manning. I wonder if he's heard about his son. How many stars he has on his recruiting site. Right?
But that may be a full circle moment, because then you're thinking, that's probably what our parents were doing with Arch Manning. They're like, oh, what his boy Peyton and Eli are doing?
Yeah, it's like the ultimate icebreaker. I should just start doing that. Meet new people. It's like awkward, like dad silence. Like, hey, yeah, your kid, what's they up to? Like, yeah, they're here. Like, yeah, hey, did you hear about Peyton Manning's son? And they're like, who's Peyton Manning? And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna walk over here. I'm gonna stand against this wall instead.
Well, see you later.
You have a good afternoon, sir. Well, I will say, because I had been running right for the marathon, and it got like super hot, like 90 degrees. And so I was picking the kids up from like practice, but I had been running at least 5 miles before. So I get over to practice. I'm like drenched in sweat, and all the other parents are like staring at me, and I'm like, is it making them uncomfortable that I'm like working out? Right? And coming in, because clearly if I'm coming in with like a running vest on, like I was wearing it so that they would know, and my bright like running shirt. Yeah, I know you probably should invest in one of those, by the way. But you get like a bright color shirt, like a traffic man would wear. I wear that to run in. I have a running vest over top, right? That's also reflective. Actually, I don't even know if it is reflective, to be honest. They usually are. I didn't check mine. But then I come in, I've noticed that like parents are kind of like, I mean, probably because I stink, right? Running. It makes them uncomfortable. They're like staring at you. Not in a good way.
Or maybe you're just not wearing deodorant on purpose. Really just.
I'm going with one of those new natural deodorants that they sell, where it's really just like some type of cream they melted down.
I make my own. How's it smell?
Yeah, Fight Club had a whole thing about that, right? They're making their own soap. I'm making my own deodorant. Like the modern day.
Go a couple days without. Just see if people are gonna like humor you.
Well, every time someone tells me, they're like, "Hey, I'm trying a new deodorant," I'm like, "I can tell you, it's not working." Like, and they have to know, right? They have to know, because why would they ask? That's like bringing up Peyton Manning. So I'm like, why would you bring that up ever? How does that make it into conversation? Unless you're watching a game. I don't know. Like, I can't remember when I heard about his son. maybe he was like on the game, right? You're watching a game with someone and they're like showing Peyton Manning 100 times for no reason. And they're like, hey, his son's going to be good. Making small talk. So, getting into NFL stuff though, another random thing, Packers had like a memorial for like their former president, I think. Was it Harlan? I'm probably going to say the wrong thing. Because Michigan just lost one of their former like assistants under Bo. That's Hanlon. Jerry Hanlon died, but what was the Packers one? Harlan. Bob Harlan. And so they had like Mike McCarthy come and speak. And everyone's asking him about Aaron Rodgers. And he was like, oh, yeah. We have to wait and see what he makes his decision or whatever. And I thought, like, how embarrassing would that have been for the Packers organization to be like, hey, we're celebrating someone's life here. And then instead, the former coach is just talking about his next season with the Steelers, like a total different team. And like hyping it up. Wait till you see what we got over in Pittsburgh. It's going to be good. It's like remember that one time we actually had one good year with me and Aaron Rodgers and we won the Super Bowl. I tried to do it with the Cowboys. It didn't work out. Now I'm going to do it with the Steelers. Like,
I tried it with the Cowboys, but I didn't have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he wants them back. It'd be a great story, is what ESPN has as the headline. It'd be a great story. Yeah, what is he trying to sell it to Disney? The script writers, the NFL script writers, they go out together. They both retire. Has that ever happened? Wasn't it like John Elway did the retirement after?
Yeah.
Have we ever had
better.
Have you ever had a joint coach? Did Cowher retire with Jerome?
It was close. I don't know if he went the next season.
He probably stayed one too long, right?
Or maybe he should have stayed for 10. And then we could have avoided the decade of mediocrity.
Well, what if him and Ben Roethlisberger didn't work together? Could have turned into the Browns, right? Cowher had trouble getting quarterbacks. Cordell. Neil O'Donnell, bro.
Neil O'Donnell was a little rough.
Well, that was Mike Tomczak. Someone else also told me that I should talk about the Steelers more and not talk about the other teams and just lean into it and be a Steelers fan. Thanks, buddy. It's hard though. Like, what are we gonna do? Talk about the Steelers most of the time? I bet the overlap between like Michigan fans and Steelers fans probably isn't that great, right? I don't think there would be. If we were talking like a lot of heavy Penn State stuff, now we do talk about the Big Ten, and so having like a fresh perspective where it's not like, oh yeah, Penn State's great. Although I did lead that charge last year, and they let me down, and I just ran into another Penn State guy.
I think you did that as a reverse psychology.
No, I literally thought that they were going to do it. I ran into a Penn State guy I know down here, and he was like, just looked defeated after that season. And talking about how great now he gets to watch like Indiana win the championship. And then like Big Ten basketball is like on top and Penn State's like in last place. So they're like, yeah, we just had a horrible football season and now we're hearing about how great the Big Ten is. Like, oh yeah, that has to stink, man. Can't relate right now. Our team's looking up right now. We could win the whole thing. I got to be careful. I don't want to jinx it here talking to you outside in public in case the basketball gods here and they make us have a rough shooting night next week. But Tua said that he got to be focused to become the Falcons QB1. And so now they're going to add, they're making some moves. Then Cincinnati brings in Flacco, which is key because they have the flag football thing where these guys come out and Joe Burrow's running around like a crazy man. And I see people like Bengals fans say like, what is he doing? That loser, like he shouldn't even be playing at all. And I think there has to be some type of pride associated with winning an Olympic gold medal that, yeah, you probably want to try hard to do that, right? Tom Brady came out of retirement and was trying to do it, and I think like his team lost, which is kind of weird to me Because I would think that you would want the best players, right? They're doing it like a play-in type tournament, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you just pick like the all-star team out of these and then have them do like a best of 4, right? Like 4 best teams left and then have them play. Because right now, anybody can have a team. Like Tom Brady's teaming up with like Stephon Diggs. Like, doesn't he have other things to be doing? Off the field issues to be taken care of?
No, whenever you're dealing with a lot of serious life issues, you got to find a distraction.
Tom Brady seeks those guys out. Antonio Brown, Diggs. Like I think he's drawn to them. He can be the fixer. Although I don't think he has the family stability, right?
Well, see, that's why they all get along, because it's like, hey, I'll avoid my family too. Just hang out, throw touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's like, hey, come live with me. It's a bachelor pad, bro. I noticed like that's one thing too, that when I got the message about like the old guys comments or whatever, and I think like maybe people reminiscing, because we're not really reminiscing. Because I know a lot of people I run into, like, they'll be like, remember back in, like, 8th grade, like, T-ball or whatever, baseball, Little League? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I really don't. And so if we were telling stories like that on the show, sometimes we throw some of those in, but talking about, like, current things that are actively happening, like, right now, I think is a little bit different. But, like, Tom Brady is out there working hard, and in terms of, like, laziness, he's old, and he's, like, working out to stay in shape to play football. Why? He doesn't have to do that. I brought up Chuck Norris. He's working out. He didn't have to do that. That's why you look at some of these guys that come in and it's like, hey, I see that there's like some former like back, well, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it, like a reunion, I guess. I keep seeing like the Fab Five, like we're going to do a reunion. They're going to put up the banners or whatever. And I've seen a couple other teams do that. And a guy that you've seen play on TV comes out and you can't even recognize him. Like life has hit him hard and they're like, here he is. He's 45. And I'm like, what? That's what he looks like now. And I don't want to call some people out like names, but you probably can relate. So like, that's where I'm coming from with this. I wonder, there has to be a balance, especially for some people that like haven't even played sports up into their older. Like you want to try to stay in shape and not be having like a heart attack when you're old. But I don't know. I don't know how far into it some people want to go. But if it bothers you, hearing about people talk about fitness, I don't know what to tell you. Unless you're like a paraplegic, but I did see a couple people with the hand bikes at the marathon, bro. And then that other quadriplegic. Did you see that lady? She was like a cornholer. She like is being charged for murder. How'd she make that work? I think it was a lady. So there are people out there, Matt, getting it done is all I'm saying. Doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the disability. Should I timestamp this to cut that out?
Find a way. Find a way.
So, any other NFL stuff that stayed out to you?
No.
I did see a lot of memes about Bill Belichick. They were like, don't worry, UNC, now that you lost in the tournament, you have football season to look forward to. And it's like Bill Belichick with like, he wears like an old man sweater. I'm going to keep on the old man thing where, you've seen it. Family members come out with a sweatshirt that they got in like the 60s. It has like 15 holes in it. And it's like, come on, get one new sweatshirt. And Belichick's wearing that to practice, like a UNC sweatshirt. Do you think he has someone wear them out for him to break him in?
He is rich enough that he could probably do that.
He's been there 1 year. How does he have a UNC sweatshirt that has 5 holes in it? Do you think it was a laundry accident?
Could be a laundry accident. Could just be just gripping and ripping.
Because that's what stood out to me, and a lot of UNC fans, like they have a prestige down here that Belichick doesn't put forth in his like public appearances, and then cutting the sleeves off is one thing. Showing up with like a ton of like neck holes in your sweatshirt, come on. I don't think it's because his girlfriend's wearing it, unless she has like a pointy necklace on underneath. Who knows? But in terms of the basketball tournament, we had not a lot of upsets. I want to say when the gambling thing came out, was it like 2 years ago, where everyone kind of had legal gambling? I don't remember when Pennsylvania got it. And then it was like another year till they got it down here. But there was a thing where if you bet on the underdog in every basketball game, like $10, like we put together like however many games you would need, like $300 or whatever. You put $10 on each game, and you only bet the underdogs for like the first 2 rounds, you would come out well ahead. But the last 2 years, that hasn't been the case, and people are blaming it on this and that, like NIL and all of this other stuff, and the transfer portal, and maybe these teams are like stealing guys. Maybe that's the case. But I still think that you have the problem where now we have bigger conferences, right? And so it's not just like the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC have like these monster conferences. Now you have conferences like the Mountain West that are like merging together. And for better or for worse, those conferences now include a lot of the mid-majors that are known for upsetting teams, right? And they're becoming a one-bid conference where one team comes in, they get the bid. Like VCU comes in, they're in the A10. I think there were 2 teams from the A10. They both did well. Okay. But now, because of the way the conferences have been shifting, you're not getting enough of the other conferences where it's not like, oh, there's like 10 or 12 good conferences that can make a run. Now it's like, okay, you could probably see like 6 conferences make a run. And so that's where I think the consolidation is happening. Now you have like the Big Ten and the SEC getting like 9 and 10 teams in, when before they used to get like 6. And so it used to be spread out more. And now that's my worry for football, where if you stick with the 12-team playoff or even the 16, you're going to have the same thing where, ACC only gets 1 or 2 teams in. Oh, they never win it? Huh. Weird. Like, yeah, they only get 1 crack at it. Like, Gonzaga's been close how many times, but they don't just have to run through a whatever list. I know they got eliminated, I think. But they have to go ahead and rip through all these major conferences that also have, like, 1 power team. Like, Iowa beat Florida. Florida was the 4th number 1 seed. Last year, all the number 1 seeds, I think, made it to the Final Four. And so even if Iowa goes on a run, they might have to play Duke, and then they might have to play like Arizona or Michigan again, like teams that they have, like they're going to have 3 major upsets, and they're not even a mid-major. That's a Big Ten team that would have to do that, and it's almost impossible. So I think now you have, with the way the conferences are, where there's like 4 major conferences, I think each conference now, we're going to see it. They're either going to have 1 or 2 top contending teams. Like I said it before, there's a real chance the Big Ten could have 0 teams in the Final Four. They could also end up, luckily, with 4 teams in the Final Four. You have Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State all separated, and then Illinois in that bottom corner there. And the bottom corner only has Houston, and it has Nebraska and Iowa. So they have 3 of the 4 teams in that other, the one that doesn't have one of the top teams in the Big Ten has 3 of the 4 teams left. So like Duke has guys out with injury. They almost lost to Siena. Michigan State has been in the top 10 almost all the year. It wouldn't be a surprise if Michigan State made the Final Four. Same with Purdue knocking off Arizona, or Michigan's in there. I think Iowa State's guy's injured. They're playing Bama. Michigan's playing Bama on Friday. Bama's guy got arrested, right? So very well we could see a ton of like Big Ten teams make it Doesn't matter though. Like some team gets hot, they could all lose. You don't know. And so if you want mid-majors to kind of come, I think they need to do something with like the way the seedings and things are. I almost think that they should get rid of anyone that's like an automatic bid, because there's two fixes for this. First is the lower conferences need to get rid of the conference tournament, because you have teams that are actively good getting upset in their own conference tournament and then not getting picked. So then you have like a horrible team from some small mid-major conference that's like 17-16 making it, and then getting stomped in the first round when very well a team that could have made a run just had an unlucky game in the conference tournament and they're one and done. They might have only had like look at Miami, Ohio. They won in the tournament. They won a game and they almost didn't even make it. Right? To do what? Put another 16 and 15 SEC team in? Like, why? Why do that? It doesn't matter that the SEC had a ton of teams lose, because people are going to say, well, they were playing tough teams. Like, yeah, of course they're going to lose some of those 10 games. Right? Ha ha ha. But then the same people complaining that there's not enough SEC teams are the ones complaining there's not enough upsets. Because they don't count like Texas being like an 11 seed, whatever, making a run. Because I even said I didn't think Texas was deserved to be in. Not that they weren't good. They didn't deserve to be in. They did the play-in game. Fine. Any team that's on the bubble that doesn't have an automatic bid, I think those should be in the play-in games. It would, make the play-in games better. Because no one's watching. Like, I don't even know who Michigan beat first round. But that team, I'm pretty sure, had to play in a play-in game. I think it was Howard. So they played a play-in game, and then what? Got stomped? Like, what's the point of the play-in game? Why not reward them and make them? I mean, if they really wanted to make it competitive, and I know they don't want to like make the number one seeds had a disadvantage, but they could just make all the play-in games like the 16-team seeds. And then like, what, Michigan's playing Texas or something? That'd make for some upsets. But that's my worry, is that they keep talking about expanding this to 96 teams or whatever it is. Why? What's the point of that? Because I think too many teams in, it's not going to balance it back out. You're going to have coaches that are looking right now, and this is what everyone's complaining about in the Big Ten, where Michigan is selling a vision, and I hope Dusty May doesn't leave, right? You never know. Coaches could go somewhere. But right now, he's telling teams like, hey, look, in the past 10 years, Michigan's been to the Sweet 16 the most out of any team in college basketball, tied with, I think, Purdue and Houston. And so if you want to play deep in the tournament, come to Michigan. Like, we've been runners-up twice, been to the Final Four. Like, we're close. You come here, win the national championship. If he wins the national championship this year, it's going to be hard for people not to be like, okay, well, if I'm a top recruit or a top transfer, do I go to Michigan? Do I go to like Duke that's also selling the same vision, or UConn? Right. I think you're going to see a lot of these same teams be able to sell the vision of success and point at their direct rivals and say, look, go to Purdue, lose, get upset in tournament every year. I don't care. Right? Like, is that what you want your legend to be? Because Gonzaga can sell the same thing. Like, oh yeah, go play at Oregon, right? Have fun being like finishing 10th in the Big Ten or whatever, and then not doing anything. Or you can just come to Gonzaga, where we're in the tournament every year, and potentially making a run. And that's what happened with football when the college football playoff came around. You had 4 teams, whatever, that just got lucky and got hot at the same time, like Clemson. Historically, didn't have that luxury of them picking players, right? They never out-recruited Florida State. But because they had a run where they were in the playoff every year and there's only 4 teams, they were able to tell recruits like, hey, you want to be in the playoff? Come to Clemson. And it kind of has backfilled to them where people still think that Clemson is like one of the top 2 teams in the ACC. And in reality, it really should go back to Florida State and Miami. Do you agree?
I would say, yeah.
I mean, Miami's proven it this year. Florida State just went undefeated, like what, 2 years? What was it? 3 years ago, regular season undefeated. So Clemson in that time hasn't done really anything. So I don't know how they're going to keep selling that if you're not on TV, not making the money, and not able to do that side of it. I saw people complaining about Michigan's Yaxel, right? He was at UAB, and he was interviewed, and he said that like Kentucky was trying to just sell him on money. Like every time he would come to Michigan, they were talking about like, hey, we need you to, we have a system. We want you to win. Like we want you to become like a legend here. And he said he'd go to Kentucky and they would be like, we're just going to give you millions of dollars, buddy. You want like $7 million? You want like $9 million? And he said that was the one thing that stood out. Like at Michigan, he said that the coach never mentioned money to him at all. And a lot of the other coaches, like head coaches at other places, they're the guy talking money. And so I think that's going to be a split where you have someone else handle that. I think Michigan's goes the GM route, right? They just hired that guy from the Giants for football. So Michigan's been hiring like GMs to come in. They handle the money. The head coach is all business, right? They're meeting with the recruits, telling them like, this is going to be your pro like roadmap. This is what our plan is for you. This is how you're going to play. We're going to have you play this position, blah, 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 and getting that. And I still think a lot of teams that are just so focused on money, they're going to have a tough time recruiting. But we'll see, right? A lot of teams left, especially in basketball, or just solid coaches like Rick Pitino, like guys that have been winners. John Calipari, I was laughing because that hit piece from Kentucky came out where Yaxel was like, yeah, they just kept throwing money at me, and then they didn't want Calipari anymore, and I'm pretty sure Arkansas is still alive, right? So they boot him to Arkansas. He wins the SEC tournament. And everyone was talking about like, oh, his only thing is recruiting. He sucks at coaching. And it's like, is it though? Right? Because no one was picking Arkansas to go on a run. I know that for a fact. Yeah. So maybe he actually is a decent coach. Like what if he would win it all at Arkansas? That would be insane. I would think Kentucky fans would just go crazy. And at this point, you don't know. 16 teams, you need what, 4 more wins? Get hot? Going around, I don't know who they play. Do they play Arizona? I'm going to look it up. Because I don't know I think Arizona is the one team right now that doesn't have an injury, though, in terms of like the top teams. Yeah, they play Arizona this week. It could realistically, Arkansas could beat Arizona. If they upset Arizona and Texas upsets Purdue, Arkansas could be playing like an 11 seed to go to the Final Four. That's doable. Right?
Yeah.
Michigan has a guy out. Bama has a guy out. Iowa State has a guy out. So Tennessee has another run where they could, I don't know if they have any injuries, but they could do the same thing. Play 3 teams with injuries and make it to the Final Four. I think the Big Ten side with Houston has to be like, all right, this is like a honorary Big Ten membership for us. We beat Illinois. We beat Nebraska and Iowa. Like, all right. I'll say this though: if Houston plays Iowa in the Elite Eight, 2 defenses with like horrible like offenses, that game has to be awful to watch. Awful. I hate watching Iowa as it is because they do like the low possession like grab. I'm surprised they even got to 73 or whatever they had to beat Florida. Crazy. And then the other side is like the old coaches: Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, and UConn. Although Duke's coach doesn't have like any wins. So that side, I think all the coaches have a national championship there. Except for Duke. I don't think Shire has one. He's newer, right? I don't know how Duke hasn't won one when he's been there. No, because it's been UConn and Florida has been the most recent. So we have some teams. I think this would be like this Sweet 16. I wouldn't mind if the college football went to that model. I would just like to see, like right now, even here, there's no mid-majors. I'm pretty sure Houston's in the Big 12, right? UConn and St. John's would be the 2. But in terms of basketball, aren't they both in the Big East? There's no Big East anymore for football, so like that conference wouldn't exist. So you would have, they're not a mid-major is what I'm saying. So you would have like no mid-major conferences left. And for football, It's not good. That's kind of why I like the 24. Go to 24. Let conference champs in from every conference and let that be like a warm-up game. If like Siena plays Duke tight, okay, that's the same as like Toledo playing Alabama tight in like a bowl game to kick off the playoffs. Like awesome, Rick, right? If they pull off an upset, that'd be killer. It might not happen, but if it's a tight game, people are going to watch. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think that's pretty much all I had this week. I know it's an off-season, probably a short show. Is there anything that I missed you want to talk about?
No, overall, I was anticipating more of the top seeds advancing, and I know that with the NCAA tournament that there's always more upsets, but I really thought with as many transfer portal scenarios as we were having, that I was fully expecting it just to be where the top teams were going to just mow straight through, and you were going to have more ones and twos advancing deeper.
So we still have a chance, looking at it, where Florida's the only one out. It looks like all the twos are still alive. And then how many threes are left? 2. So the threes are where it starts to take a bath. Because then fours, there's 3 fours. So maybe, after that, it's like a random mix. A 6, 9, 11, and a 5. So not too bad. Because I saw people complaining like, well, there's no like 11 seeds that have made a run this year. It's like, yeah, Texas is. They're just they're not like a mid-major. It's not like VCU or someone making a run. Like, what are some of the other 11 seeds? Like VCU, if they would upset Illinois, yeah. But like if A&M at a 10 seed would have beat Houston because they're in the SEC, would people have really cared? Like Iowa's a 9. Would that have mattered? Like if it was St. Louis instead on that side because Michigan played St. Louis. They had that guy with 100 nicknames that I never heard that guy at all. Right? I think a guy with funny nicknames and social media, he would have been everywhere. I should have known him before Michigan played him in the tournament, right? No. Or like a Utah State 9 seed. Like, yeah, they were in the game. They played Arizona, but like they didn't advance. And I think that's where people are getting hung up. Oh, I picked a bunch of weird mid-major teams on my bracket. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. You just didn't pick the ones that counted. Because there were still some high seeds that went through. I saw people say like, well, High Point's the only one that counted. Like people are gatekeeping which teams are surprise upset picks. Like Utah State. How many people are really picking Utah State in their bracket over Villanova? I guarantee probably almost no one. Right? TCU and Ohio State. How many people even knew that Jamie Dixon was Pitt's old head coach at TCU? Right? Us? That's it?
Yeah.
And then some of the other ones, I'm trying to look and see who advanced. A lot of them are just higher seeds from these bigger conferences, and that's how it's going to be until they stop letting so many lower seeds in. That's really the fix. Don't put 10 SEC teams in. Right? Why is the ACC getting so little teams? I talked the ACC up last week, and then they embarrassed me by having such a horrible record that it was so bad. And there was a point where the Big Ten, if UCLA would have been able to pull the upset over UConn, they could have had 7 of the 16 teams in. And then that's going to make everyone next year say like, oh, if the Big Ten's looking good again, we should probably put in like 12 of their teams, right? They have 18 or 20. How many teams are in that conference now? Like, let's put them all in.
But I think like that's where some of that argument comes back, where I don't think you need to necessarily have X number of teams just because of the conference has been historically strong. Like when you look at the ACC in basketball, like North Carolina and Duke have held basketball down for a long time. But it's not like, well, you have to include them because it just wouldn't be the same. Like it's the same argument right now in college football. They're like, well, we have to have SEC, Georgia, or Alabama, they automatically should be in, regardless of what they do during the regular season. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I think they should win the games that matter. They get to earn that spot.
I know. I saw an analysis where people think that based on who the loudest voices are, that's how teams kind of get that recognition. And they brought up the fall of like Notre Dame, where like 30 years ago, people were used to seeing like Notre Dame compete like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then people that grew up like in the 90s, they didn't really see Notre Dame like do anything, right? They never won a BCS bowl. Then you get to 2000s, they weren't really doing anything. Now they kind of like have made it to the championship game and they've got killed every time. And it's like to the point where they're almost, if they don't get back to the hump, like the benefit for them being in no conferences right now, they can still have an inflated record. They haven't reached like the Minnesota level, right? Where Minnesota used to be awesome in like the 50s, year after year after year. Now no one considers Minnesota good because people that saw a good Minnesota are no longer alive or like in the media, right? So Notre Dame hasn't won a championship. Same with Penn State. Yeah, Franklin had Penn State competing. And how many times I'm going to make Penn State fans feel bad on the show this week. But their last like national championships was like in the 80s. And it was kind of similar for like Michigan until like the 90s national championship. And then now this more recent one where you have people that have like a larger age group saw Michigan win championships in 2 different decades. The same type of thing that Ohio State has done. Yeah, Ohio State has only won like what, 2, 3 national championships in like the last 30 years, but they've been spread out to the point where it doesn't matter what age group you kind of remember Ohio State, they did win one here. They did win one here. And so now you have teams like Penn State and even Georgia until recently, where if your championships from the 80s, the people that are in your corner are few and far between. Like Miami was reaching that point where they were on a 20-year hiatus. So you had people that were of drinking age that hadn't seen Miami do anything. They haven't even won an ACC championship still. And even going into basketball, we talk about the Big Ten. Indiana used to be the Big Ten blue blood. They've been a 1 seed since the 90s, like 1 time. Michigan's been a 1 seed like twice in the past like 5 years. So like it's a weird shift where now it's like, how many old people in the media consider Indiana to be the top Big Ten basketball program when in reality, it's going to be a mixture of Michigan, Michigan State, or Purdue, maybe Illinois recently. And they haven't won the national championship. That's the only kicker. So if one other team wins it, like if Michigan State wins the national championship this year, Tom Izzo had like their last championship was like in 2000. I think that was like the last Big Ten one, somewhere around there. If he wins it again this year, you almost have to say Michigan State's like the most relevant basketball program in the Big Ten. If Michigan wins it this year, you can make that argument it's Michigan. If Purdue wins it, you have kind of like the same mix where, has it been? I honestly think the Big Ten has only won. I think the last Michigan's championship was like 89. And I think that might have been the other Big Ten championship. I think the Big Ten's last 2 championships might have been Michigan and Michigan State 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So how are they getting like the benefit of the doubt if they're just like a known chokers? It's like the football argument. Now they can go on a run and win 3 championships in a row, and then people still are shocked that Indiana football is better than their basketball program. And it's not even close. Like it's not even close. Their basketball program has not been good. But yet people, because they had that Hoosiers movie, right, Matt? It's like Notre Dame has Rudy. They're like, check it out on streaming. We used to be good. St. Patrick's Day, right? So, anything else you want to add on that?
No.
Or anything else you want to add to the show this week?
We're good this week.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Send in some more comments. If you don't like the old man talk, let me know what you want to talk about. Or maybe it's hitting too close to home, right? If you're feeling down, go out for a jog. See what it's like. That's my thing. I think working out will help you feel better in your life. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.